Okay, Henry, don't lick it. I have just spilled whole glass of water everywhere. And Henry's hiding under the desk. I'm like, Mama, get your shit together, please. Never, I whipped it. It's okay. Sign of the day that I'm having. Right, let's. Hi everybody, welcome back to LaaleebeeKnits. My name is Natalie. I am a knitter based in Belfast in Northern Ireland, and I share what I've been knitting on here on my little YouTube channel. Welcome back. I hope you had a good couple of weeks. I was getting into autumn cozy season, and now it's heat wave, of course. So it is roasty toasty today. I have all the windows closed so we don't get disturbed by the streets, and so my neighbours don't hear me talking to myself. Henry's sitting here wanting a little bit of attention. You good boy, Hen? Silence is golden. Yeah. So what's been happening? Last time Chloe was here, she might pop in again in the next couple of episodes because she has some finished objects to share. But what's been going on? Chloe and her twin sister Sophie, who's also my sister, but you know, the twins, and my mum and I all headed down to Castle Leslie for a little girls' getaway, which was so lovely and so needed. So we did that on Thursday. Castle Leslie is really luxurious. It's so gorgeous. It's just over the border into the south, and we had some spa treatments. We had gorgeous dinner, a glass of wine, stayed overnight. It was so lovely, really relaxing. Had a little walk around the castle and the grounds before we left, and yeah, it was gorgeous. Really nice little break. Really nice to get a wee bit of time with my mum. Including Sophie loved it too. So we did that. And it's pretty much been quiet on this front. Just been working away, getting into planning mode. I am a true Virgo. I love to plan. I love to organise. So I've been getting myself sorted out. Yeah. Got myself some, I've just got a glimpse of it there. Got myself some noise cancelling headphones. Life changing. I put them on. We had a dehumidifier. We have a dehumidifier downstairs, and it just bugs me, the little constant buzz of it, and put them on, and it's not that they just make your ears go quiet, they like play a counteractive noise to cancel out that noise. It's incredible. So I got those. They've changed my life. I kind of walk around. I went into the shops and had a little autumn piano playlist on and just walked around like I was in some sort of romantic movie, just taking my time going through the bookshop. And it was lovely. I get a little bit of anxiety out and about. I don't know why. I think it's maybe just a hangover from COVID. But it's nice to just lock everybody out. And it's still weird being around loads of people. I mean, I don't like being around people the best times anyway, but COVID really solidified that for me. But rambling, what have I got to share today? I have lots and lots and lots of socks. And I've got not much else. I've got mostly yarn plans and stash plans and knit along plans that I'm joining in with. So let's get started. I have quite a lot of FOs. So I should preface this by saying I'm joining in 3 knit alongs. I'll give you the details now. So the first one, 2 started on the 1st of September. The first one is the Crazy Spooky Mal by the Crazy Sock Lady. It runs from the 1st of September to Halloween. And it's not just socks, it's any project that uses yarn that's inspired by autumn or Halloween. And it can be any knit or crochet project, and whips are allowed. So I'm joining in on that one. There's a Fall into Socks Cal by, oh forgive me, I think it's LaaleebeeKnits on Instagram. This is any theme, any yarn, whips allowed, but it's socks. And that runs from the 1st of September to the 15th of November. And you get an extra entry if you knit one of Valendra's patterns. So I'll put those details down in the description box, and I shared them in my Instagram stories. So if you're on Instagram, make sure to follow me there, and I'll share the info. And then the biggest knit along that I'm joining in is the Pigskin Party, run by Boston Jen. This apparently is the 10th year that they're doing this knit along. I have never joined in, and I have no real interest in American football. But this is a knit along that runs alongside the American football season. So it starts on the 7th, which is this Thursday, and it runs right through to February. And it's very intricate. Like, the point system is based on your yardage that you use in knit. You get extra points for finishing a really big project, blah blah blah. It's as involved as you want it to be. So they calculate the points and all for you, which is handy because I thought I was going to have to do maths, and it's not a strong suit. But yeah, you sign up over on the Down Cellar Studios Ravelry group, and they put you into teams, and yeah, first time I have joined in. As I say, I have no interest in American football, but I am interested in a big knit along that keeps me focused on goals. That's what I like. So I'm joining that in because one of my additional things that I want to do is knit from stash as much as possible. Having said all that, projects don't count unless you cast them on the start date. So whips are not allowed in that knit along. Which meant that I wanted to get a lot off my needles before that knit along starts. So I got a lot off my needles. If I didn't finish it, I frogged it. So as of right now, I have 4 projects on the needles, and that's it. One's a pair of scrappy socks for Neil that I don't have up here, but they're just vanilla scrappy socks. I'll show them next time. But they're just an ongoing thing. They're basically what I knit on when I'm either watching something on TV that needs subtitles, or if I'm reading, I like to knit to keep my concentration up. So I have the 3 other projects here with me, and that's all that's on my needles. And I will finish 2 of them before the knit along starts, which is great. So that meant going through a lot of projects and finishing them off, and I have a lot of socks. Now this looks like a lot of knitting. I have not knit these brand new in the last 2 weeks. These have been languishing for a long time, or I've been knitting them for a good while. So let me start with, I can't even remember what I showed you last week. Yeah, I definitely showed you these. These are a long languishing sock from, let me just get on my sock blocker, from last year. These are my little vanilla striped spooky socks. I have the other one here, just to prove that I did do both. These are knit out of, I'm pretty sure this is Biff Sugar. I think this is her Trick or Treat colorway, and this is a little neon orange from LaaleebeeKnits Socks. Yeah, I don't know what the colour is, but they only have one neon orange. And then we random mini that I had. I would have had enough for the cuffs, the heels as well. I did a little afterthought heel. Because I did a shorter cuff than I usually do. This is only 12 rows. Since starting them last year, I actually prefer to knit 15, at least 15 rows. My voice is a wee bit croaky today. Hang on. Drink the last of the water that I haven't thrown around the room. I would have had enough to do an afterthought heel if I did a normal afterthought heel, but I actually did the trick that Jen from Chronicles of Yarnia on YouTube. She's one of the owners of the Yarnia shop in New Jersey. Is it New Jersey? She does a trick with her afterthought heels. She's quite high in step, which I do too. And instead of doing her afterthought heels over the 32 stitches of a 64 stitch sock, she does it over 40. So if you can see here, there's my halfway point because these haven't been blocked. I've just gone a wee bit further and taken an extra few stitches from each side to make a deeper instep, and that worked really well. And this is the longest pair of socks that I've knit in quite a while. I've been focusing on shorties, but I'm getting back into wanting longer socks. So I'm very happy that these are off the needles. They've been sitting in a little project bag for way too long. Way too long. But these boys are done and ready for Halloween. Yay. I love a seasonal knit. Anyway, next I think you saw these ones last time. Oh, there's a wee end. Hasn't been moving. We'll say nothing. These are little scrappy purple ones. Got those finished off. Got my little heels added in. I think I showed them without the heels last week. Got those little heels added in. These are nice and short. I did a little twisted rib 1 by 1, which I much prefer the look of, actually. I think it looks more polished for some reason. This it's a Ching fibre colourway. I think it's Lavender Fire. There is not very much of any nylon in it, but there is silk. So I think it might be hard wearing enough. And I'm not very hard on my socks. I tend to wear them just around the house. So another little shorty pair. Flying through this today. I'm on this. I'm going to get this podcast done. It's not going to be an hour long. Bish, bash, bosh. Right. I have another pair of socks. You saw these last week. These are the Sprocket Socks that I was doing. These are my little greeny blue Sprocket Socks. Boom. I basically had to put mostly heels on all of these, so I did that. It's got a little heel. I very happily had enough to do the heel in the stripe colour. And I used up all those scrappies. Very satisfying. Sprocket Socks. I can't remember the designer. But I'll link it below. I love this little colourwork sock. So for this sock, I usually knit my socks on a 2.25mm needle. These I knit on a 2.5mm needle. And this little slip stitch colourwork detail, I swapped hands to my non-dominant hand so that the stitches were slightly looser. And that seems to have really worked. I have quite broad feet and these fit very well. So that's pair 3 of little sockies. Right, I actually have too many socks. Like too many hand knit socks now. I had a box of socks downstairs and it got full. So then I bought 2 little baskets and they're full of socks. And then I bought another box for socks. And it's not full yet, but these haven't been added yet. But it also is coming into sock season. Sock season? Like I haven't needed to wear socks recently. So I think I'll be going through it, but I definitely have more than 30 pairs of socks. I think I probably have 60 pairs, which realistically I could wear a new pair of socks every day for 2 months. Anyway, here's another pair of socks. So, you'll remember, maybe, if you've been here for a little while, these socks. This is the Spectacular sock pattern by, I want to say it's This Handmade Life. It's either This Handmade Life or Ambrose Smith. I think it's This Handmade Life. Knit out of a set of mini skeins from Botanical Yarns. It is one of my favourite mini skein sets. I love the colour combination here. I love this. I love all of it. Like, it's just gorgeous. I paired it with a LaaleebeeKnits grey. I can't remember which grey. One of them. It's one of they've two mid greys and one is more blue than this one. This is not as blue. It's kind of like school jumper grey. Anyway, I knit these and I got really lazy. So basically they have lots and lots of ends to sew in because there's not like a nice clean way to cut your ends. And what I did was I knotted them. So this one's held up. The other one did not hold up. I think because I either didn't double knot them or I can't tell what I've done. But essentially this is what's happened. Like, I've worn these once and then I noticed this drama going on. So I think what I did was it just looks like I didn't even bother knotting these. I just snipped the ends off, which is ridiculous. Yeah, I haven't even knotted them. What? So that's a little lesson for myself and anyone else out there who can't be bothered sewing in ends. Don't be like me. Because then you'll have a beautiful sock with beautiful yarn that you can't wear. So these have been sitting in a bag waiting to be repaired. And I didn't really think there was any saving those. Because I didn't want to sew in a duplicate stitch and sew them all up and then have the fix fray anyway. So she's gone in the bin because I need a fresh one. And look at the difference between my colourwork, blocked and unblocked. This one's blocked and unblocked. And also how the yarn wears and softens up. Like, I love, love, love the colours in these socks. So I knit it properly and I took the time and I sewed my ends in. Still not blocked. Look how terrible it looks when it's not blocked compared to this. Very strange. So now I can wear these. I sewed everything in. I was very careful. Evidence. So I did the weave in steaming where I could, and where I could not, I sewed them in. Because I'm not making the same mistake twice. I'm a fool, but I'm not an idiot. So that's 4 pairs of socks. Done. And then I had one more pair of socks and I threw them out. Because I tried unravelling it. It wasn't happening. I was sitting for like 20 minutes trying to unravel this sock to save the yarn. I couldn't do it. It wouldn't unravel. I threw it out. Just that sock, not the rest of the yarn. So, I'll show you those then. So, I started a sock. I finished the full sock. I didn't like it. I didn't want to knit it again. So I tried to unravel it all and it wouldn't work. So I threw that out, grabbed the rest of the yarn, realised that I could make a pair of shorties with it with some minis added in. And so that's what I did. This is one of my favourite sock patterns to knit. It's the My Cup of Tea socks. It's a free pattern. It is one of the first patterned socks that I ever knit, and I think this might be my 4th pair, if not my 5th pair of socks. I just love, it's nice for this kind of micro striping effect. So you can see on the back there, the way it kind of micro stripes. I like how you can still see the pattern. The micro stripes don't distract from it, whereas in some other patterns and textures, you can't see the texture very well because the speckling and the striping interferes with it. I think this actually enhances it quite nicely. So these are going to be little afterthought heel boyos. This yarn is Biff Sugar again. It's something like fairy tale. Something about fairies. Story. Fairy. I don't know. Happily ever after. Something like that. And it is one of my favourite colours. Oh my god, I love it. It was beautiful in the skein. It's beautiful knit up. I hope she does them again. Because I say I shall be purchasing. I really should not be purchasing anymore, but I can't resist. So I've knit this full sock, and I am nearly finished the second one. I was worried about playing yarn chicken, so I split my yarn into 2, and this is the second. This is for the second sock. And then I have a couple of little purple minis from my stash. I can't remember what they're from. They're 2 slightly different. You can't really tell the difference there. So I had a couple of little purple minis. They're in a little handmade bag. This is the this is by Can Do Sews pattern. It's her little drawstring bag. It's got little pockets in there. This is the smallest size, so you can buy the pattern on Ravelry. I am not a very good sewist, seamstress, but I find that pattern really easy to follow. And I've made maybe 7 or 8 or 9 of those little bags. So I've got my money's worth out of the pattern. So I've just a couple more repeats on this little sock to do, and then put the heels on, and they'll be new for, I think I call these my birthday socks because these are birthday colours to me. Like my favourite colours. The purple is my favourite colour and has been since I was very little. So these are like birthday socks. And I always try and knit myself a little birthday something. I was trying to knit myself a birthday jumper, but I forgot about that little tradition. And so I haven't this year. But at least I have some birthday socks. I feel like I'm rattling through that. So that's all my sock talk. 2 more projects to show you. I'll save the most exciting one for last. This one is in a little handmade bag that I made. This is a crochet pattern called Sophies Universe. And it is very complicated, and I forgot how complicated it was. And the only reason I'm able to do it is because there are really, first of all, the instructions are very good. And second of all, there's a series of videos that guide you through every single step of this pattern. So if you want to crochet a blanket, another Sophies Universe, I would really recommend it. It's a free pattern. The videos are free to view. They're old. I think it came out 10, 12 years ago now. But it's worth it. So I'm knitting this out of, no, I'm crocheting this out of a Shapiez whirl. Now I'm trying to just buy one at a time of these so that I don't go crazy with the old stash. And in case I decided to like quit halfway, I didn't want to have spent all the money on it because these are kind of expensive for commercial yarn. I think they're about £22. This colour is Cotton Candyman. It's been out for years and years. And I will show you my little blanket now. I can't remember what part I'm on. But this, so it starts off with a mandala and then you square it out. And the lovely thing about knitting it in this yarn is that I have very few ends to sew in. I've done this before. I don't know if I've got quite so far, but I started one of these before and had to sew in so many ends that I stopped because I wasn't about it. But this is my Sophies Universe blanket, and it's the smallest size. They have 3 sizes. That's just determined by the type of yarn that you use. So because I'm using a 4-ply yarn, and it's cotton and acrylic, so because I'm using a 4-ply yarn, it's going to be the smallest size. To be honest, I think this is more decorative than an actual blanket that I would use. Or maybe it'll end up being a wee baby blanket for somebody. But that's my Sophies Universe. So I pick that up now and again when when I need something challenging to do as like a distraction. But I don't work on this continuously, so I just pick it up as and when. And because I didn't have anything apart from the socks on the needles, it was a good chance to work away on that. So that's my little crochet project. My other crochet project is still ongoing. It's my granny square blanket. I haven't made very significant progress on that, so there's no point showing you until I have something fun to show. But that's still going on in the background. And my last one. So I was thinking, oh, I'll get rid of all my whips and then it'll be ready for this cast on. And I was working on my jumper from last time, you might remember, my colourwork jumper that I thought might be too big. It was considerably bigger than I thought. And I think it was maybe at least 4 inches too big. So that got frogged. And I think I'll go down a needle size. Did I take my gauge? I tried to take my gauge. Did I write it down? Can't remember. Must have written it down in the pattern, surely. Surely I'll have written that down in the pattern. I will have. So I think I'll go down a size, but keep the needles because I quite like the fabric I was getting. I hope going down one size will be enough. It should be. Because I think the sizes went in kind of 4 to 6 inch increments. So that is frogged, and so then I was without a sweater project because I knew if I was to cast that on I wouldn't get it finished for the knit along in time for the pigskin party cast on. So I cast something else on for my spooky knit along, make along. So I cast this on the 1st of September. It is another autumn doodle coil. I'm addicted to these. So I started knitting it again for myself, and as I was knitting it I thought, Sophie needs this to match Chloe's. They need to be matching, their twins. So this is for Sophie. She already knows, it's not a surprise. And Sophie only watches the podcast episodes that Chloe's in. So she'll not see this. But this is Sophie's autumn doodle coil. And again, I'm knitting it with all my little scrappy... Oh, look at the foxes. They're so cute. I'm knitting it with all my scrappy DK, my DK advent calendar from a few years ago. This I'm in love with. This is a Giddy Aunts mini. Giddy Aunt yarns who are based in Comber. I love this big motif. But this is Sophie's. I think I need, look at the little coffee cups. And then little acorns at the bottom. I think I need to add maybe another 6 inches before this is ready. Because she wants to be able to bundle up in it. Maybe not quite 6, maybe 4 inches would do. Autumn doodle coil. So I've picked aside for this 3 skeins total and 14 minis. I'll not use all 14 minis. I think you need at most the equivalent of 2 skeins of yarn. But it's nice to have all those little minis and pick and choose. I just love using up my stash as well. So I love that I've been able to knit this up for Sophie. So, Autumn Doodles. Obsessed with that pattern. It's so addictive. I just love colour work. I love knitting it. And I love knitting it in that kind of project because it's not like a yoked sweater where if you pull it on you might snag some of the floats on the back. I'm not going to be snagging these floats because they're going to be sewn in, so the floats can be as long as I like. And I have left some pretty long, but they're pretty stretchy, so it's not. But if that was a jumper, for example, I would have snagged a finger on that and then pulled it and would have been very sad about it. But no need to worry with this one. So it's a very relaxing knit. I think it would be a really good first colourwork pattern. This is by Pacific Knit Co, Jamie Lomax, and she has a little cup cozy pattern that would be a really good introduction to colourwork. And actually 2 of my friends want to start learning colourwork knitting, so I've recommended they start with that pattern. And I might knit a couple with the leftovers that I have of this. This is in my Hohi Locatelli meets the Grocery Girls pamper bucket that I got from Neil a good few years ago now, maybe 4 years. It's holding up well. It's all my whips. So I have an acquisition to show you, and I have 1, 2, 3 plans to share with you, and then that'll be me. What time we're at? Half an hour. It's not too bad. Okay, so I got my August Beehive Yarns Simple Pleasures Club in the post. These always post out at the end of the month. So if you're waiting on yours and you don't want it to be spoiled, look away. I'll show the inspo picture first. August, and it says good vibes. Wherever life plants you, bloom with grace. Very nice. She sent a little tea with it. Wait for this. I get it on sparkle base, so it is 75 superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. So I get the gold sparkles in this and just make it incredible. I'm so happy. So I've got another 4 months left of this club, and then I think next year I hope she keeps doing the club because it's been beautiful. I've loved every skein. There's been a real mix of colours, but I think I'll swap to mini skeins next year because I'm not getting myself a mini skein advent calendar. And my goal is to work my way through as many mini skeins and stash as I can, which means I'll have room for more minis. So that was my little acquisition. I have not gone yarn shopping. I missed 2 what looked like very good yarn events last weekend, which I'm annoyed at myself about. Henry's wanting to sit on that chair. You're a wee madam. Let me just clear the road for my dog. There you go, puppy. Go on, little prince. Come on. Let's go, boy. Shall I move the camera around? There he is. Oh. Sorry, puppy. There he is. Oh, look at that wee grumpy face. Gorgeous boy. Sorry about the Does anyone get motion sick? Because I do. And that kind of stuff makes me go a bit, ooh. Anyway, what was I saying? I missed out on 2 really good events. Fine and Dandy Market, which had Giddy Ant yarns there, and another one, like a spinning yarns, spinning something, Antrim, which also looked really good. So I'm annoyed with myself that I missed those. But having said that, I really don't need to buy any more yarn just right now. So I've been holding off casting on big projects because I want them to count into this little. Having said that, I also do Sock Bash. I try to do Sock Bash, which is the Grocery Girls annual, like year-long knit-along, where they have a different theme each month. This month for September, the theme is cables. So I've got cables for the Grocery Girls. I've got my Spooky Mal, which asks for autumnal yarn, and then we've got the Fall into Socks knit-along as well. So I pulled out from my stash some autumnal sock sets that I could cast on. This one, oh, I love this. It has been knit up and pulled out again and again because I have not yet found a pattern that is worthy of it. This is by Giddy Ant Yarns. It is called Spellbound, and it is a sock set that came with a little sparkly orange mini, and I love it. So this is going to be my next sock that I will cast on. Oh, I have a couple plans. I have lots and lots of plans, and I've put them all in different project bags, but I will show them as I cast them on rather than that. But this is definitely going to be a cast on this month. My sister Jessica, her birthday's in November, and she's a big Lord of the Rings fan, so I got this Gimli sock set from Lonely Mountain Yarns for her. It's DK weight, so I thought they were very autumnal as well, and perfectly Gimli. I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, but Jess is, and she made me watch them when we were kids, like extended director's cuts, so I've watched all. And you know what? Tolkien was medievalist, so you would think I would be interested in it, but I just can't. Anyway, they might be cast on. Have a wee while yet before I have to cast those on, but I think I keep on twisting my skeins. I think they would make a really nice cable pattern. I'm a bit nervous about knitting DK socks. I did a test knit with DK socks and they went perfectly, but it's they were shorties, and so just in terms of yarn management, I don't know how much yarn a normal pair of socks uses, so I'm just struggling with this. Just tie it back up. Did a terrible job. I could never be a yarn dyer. Oh, it didn't look too bad. Yeah, I'm not sure how much yarn a DK sock uses, and these are 250 gram skeins, so I'm a bit apprehensive about that one. But I shall get over it and cast it on, find it out. What's the worst that could happen? I rip it out and start again. It's fine. And then I have 2 sock sets from Giddy Ant Yarns that were part of one of them was part of the Curiosities Yarn Club. This one is called Old Rusted Gates, and this one is called Muscle. And I thought these were like perfect autumnal colours too. So I've more autumnal yarn in there, but saving something for October and November. But I've put these in a little separate basket that I can just pull from whenever I'm ready to cast on a little sock. So those are my little socks that are kind of, if it's out of sight, out of mind, I'll forget about it. So I'm putting them out front and centre so that I remember. Couple more projects that I have. 2 big projects that I've planned for this Pigskin Party Knit Along. First is another Soldotna. mostly because I have the yarn for it, just in stash from different projects. And I'm toying with the idea of changing the colourwork chart I already have 2 sold on this. It's by Caitlin Hunter. I already have 2. Do I need a third? Probably not. But I could shake up if we change the colourwork chart, then it would be something different. So this is all stash. This is Viking yarn, sports rag. It says sports rag, it's actually a DK weight. 60% wool, which I'm assuming is wool. 20% nylon and 20% acrylic. I have 4 skeins of this. These are 50-gram balls. I bought these years ago, I think from Wool Warehouse. And I have enough to knit the body with those. And then I have, this is Life in the Long Grass. At one time it was a jumper, and then I frogged that jumper because I didn't like it. I didn't like how it fit. I think I should have gone up a size to have it like oversized, or gone up a needle size to make the fabric a bit lighter. But I frogged the whole jumper, and so the black's going in here. So I would use that for the collar part and the details on the sleeve, the cuffs, and then use the grey for the body. And then the colour work would be this pink, which is from John Arbon, and 3 mini skeins from Giddy Aunt Yarn's advent calendar from a few years ago. Look how beautiful these are. These are 3 different colours, but they're like a little fade. Like that advent calendar was beautiful. The colours really worked well together. Gorgeous. So that's going to be one of my first cast ons. And then I have a little dilemma. So Stephen West's annual knit along is coming up. He does a big mystery knit along in October every year, and I'll not lie to you, I haven't liked one of the shawls that he's done. No, they haven't been my favourite because I'm not an out there kind of person, really. Bright lipstick is about as out there as I get. And his patterns are definitely out there, and they're very big and very involved. But people talk about how they learn so much while they're knitting them because he's so creative. He's so like visionary knitwear designer. And this year he's doing a gradient or a fade as the recommended yarn, and I can't resist a fade. And I feel like the main thing that I didn't enjoy about the other shawls was how contrasted the colours are. He really plays with colours and makes them clash and just be really creative and out there. And yes, you can get some muted palettes, but I can't resist a fade. So I was watching the Botanical Yarns podcast, and they were showing all of their fades that they've dyed up for it, and one of them was lavender, and I said to myself, if I was to knit that shawl, I would knit it in that set. And then I was sitting with Neil last night, and he was like, what do you want for your birthday? And I was like, oh, I'm not too sure. And then I remembered that fade set, that lavender set, and it was in stock and really reasonably priced. I think it was £84 for 4 skeins. So Neil ordered it for me. So plan is to join in the knit along. And if I don't like it, I can frog it and do a faded jumper with it. So that plan happened last night. Before I decided that plan, I had actually pulled yarn together for an Andrea Mowry shawl. I can't remember what the shawl's called. I will link it down below though. It's basically a shawl that she has that you can mix and match your colours. You don't have to do a very structured fade. You can mix and match similar colour tones and make it as big as you want. And I wanted something that would use up a lot of my stash. And I usually like to knit a big shawl around this time of year. I lost one year, you might recall. And that's still annoying me. So I'm one shawl down. I have 2 or 3, but I would like to knit another big one. And you know, I'm a planner, so I started having a look in my stash. And it has to be said as well, I did look for a fade in my stash, and I have 3 skein fades that I can pull together, but nothing that's really a 4 skein fade. And so if I'm gonna, the thing that will make me knit the Stephen West shawl is a beautiful kit that's designed for it. So anyway, this shawl asks for, I think it's written for 4 skeins of yarn, but you can keep adding to it. So I pulled together yarn that was all in a similar colour family. It's all yarn that's been in my stash. Most of it is yarn that's been in my stash for a long time, and I really want something beautiful made from it. And so I'll show you the skein that it's based around. This is one of my Beehive Yarn Club skeins, and this is perfectly exactly the vibe that I'm going for with this shawl. So this is the main skein. I had a group of minis that were from Botanical Yarns years ago. No idea what they were called. But she actually had a faded set for the Stephen West knit along that looked very similar to this. So this is very much her vibe. So I have those that go with. And then I have this, I think, is a Life in the Long Grass one that I knit a Raina shawl from. And I knit the Raina shawl in this and this. You see where I'm going with these? And then I have a Giddy Aunt Yarns. This is one of the first yarns I bought from Giddy Aunts. And then I have this kind of dark purpley something. And another little dark mini. It's like speckled. I'm looking at the wrong part of the iPad. And then a taupe socks, yeah. Let's butcher this. Axonite. Which is kind of a weird taupey colour, but look how perfectly these go. So I pulled all of these little colours and I thought to myself, this is what you want to put all of these into a shawl. And the way that it's written, I believe, is you throw in a colour wherever. It doesn't really matter, and that's the kind of thing I need. Something that I don't have to be too precious about, because if it gives me a structure and I don't follow the structure, then I'll get stressed and it's not very enjoyable. So there's a lot of yarn here. And in fairness, I could knit 1 if not 2 sweaters out of the amount of yarn that's in here, but I really want a nice big shawl. So that was my big shawl plan, and I've been dying to cast it on for a long time. like 2 weeks. But I don't want to cast it on. There's my work email. I don't want to cast it on before. I want it to count for the knit along. So I'm holding off until Thursday and then it'll be casted on. And then it's whether do I choose that or the Stephen West. Stay tuned for that because I haven't decided yet. But I'm getting the yarn for Stephen West. So if I'm getting the yarn for Stephen West, I should really start the knit along. So many knit alongs. I believe you can double dip in the pigskin party. In that the project setting out for the pigskin party can also count towards other knit alongs. Pretty sure the rules didn't say anything about that. They're pretty, like, the wee rules document was pretty long. It's pretty involved. There's some pretty good prizes too though. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of stash planning. I've been doing a lot of stash counting. Neil, I tried to explain my girl math to Neil about my stash and it just wasn't, he wasn't getting it. I was getting myself confused. So we did a big recount. Shall I tell you how much I have? Considering I've tried to be quite restrained this year and haven't just ordered yarn as and when I want it. I have actually been like pretty mindful of the yarn that I'm ordering. I still have like 30 skeins more than when I started. I don't really know how that happened, but I have in total, and this like so I counted full skeins, but I also counted skeins that I've used some of and I have leftovers of. 204 skeins of yarn and 138 minis. But I have about 40 skeins put aside for that yarn, for that shawl, so I'll get through it. That's the primary reason why with these knit alongs I want to use yarn I already have. Because I want to work through my stash. I have at least 2 other sweaters planned. And I want to do an autumn doodle cowl. I think I'm going to end up doing that in finger and weight yarn because I hate holding finger and weight double. Just don't find it enjoyable. So those are my plans. And that's everything from me. How is this podcast? Nearly an hour long. Hi. My throat's a wee bit sore from talking too much. Right, I'm going to say goodbye. Love you and leave you. Thank you so much for joining me. Trying to talk Chloe into coming back next week to show off her FO. And I will see you then. Look after yourself.